meet Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and this video is going to be the full specification, information, details on the Maverick Explorer inflatable canoe that I'm calling the Stealth model due to its colour scheme and design. This is a project that I spent over 2 years in making the design, the practicalities, all the different features on it, which obviously will make more sense when you see it in the video, but it's all basically for practicality of many different uses outdoors, from bushcrafting, wild camping, just general leisure and expedition, also fishing as well. I spent a long time researching manufacturers that make inflatable canoes, really good quality ones, and also the materials they're made out of, and actually researching into the different type of materials for different uses of inflatable boats, canoes, anything that's going to be inflatable that actually goes on the waters. And I researched the manufacturers of those sort of materials and also the companies that actually make canoes. The project originated from when I actually was trying to look for a canoe for my specific use, but it didn't actually have the features. It might have had the relevant D-rings to fasten equipment and seats, but maybe not enough of them. Or else if they didn't have the D-rings, they had the tug ropes going around the side, which is all for different practical uses. So I thought, well, if there's no one out there making one, I'm going to design one. And lo and behold, that's how the Maverick Explorer was actually born. And some of you have been actually following my travels for many years, wild camping, especially in the canoe, travelling the rivers in Britain. And from that, you've shown an interest. So the whole principle of the canoe is based on my requirements, my experience from canoeing, what I feel you need to go on expedition canoeing on the waters. Creating a product that's fit for purpose and making it quite unique, considering there's no one else out there that's making this type of canoe. And I commissioned an international global leader in inflatable boats to use my design from a generic basic shape of a canoe and add all my features to it, which is going to go ahead to be the main canoe that's actually going to be manufactured and actually go on sale. So before I go into the full practical demonstration of inflating the canoe, showing you what's in the Maverick Explorer canoe package and all the items, features that are included, I'm just going to give you a few technical specifications as to the materials it's made out of, the very high quality military grade materials, and also some of the features. So the canoe is made from high specification PVC layers, either side of high tensile woven fabric. Dimensional stability is via the high tensile tear resistance polyester fabric that's sandwiched in between both layers, which then gives it that high inflation load compared to many other cheaper type canoes that are only just single membrane and can inflate indefinitely and are prone to bursting or splitting. The surfaces are high resistance to abrasion, certain chemicals and many environmental conditions. This next image shows a little bit more of a close-up in-depth version of the layer system of the Desertex PVC material, where you can see the top coat, primary coat, then in the middle is sandwiched the base fabric, stability again that's created from that, and then the primary coat, top coat either side of that. Here's now an image just showing the seaming system, how it's sealed. So there's the general lighter colour of the overlap of the chambers, that's the first seal. Then either side is the darker colour, is the outside strip seam. So it's triple seamed sealed. Now the removable drop stitch high pressure floor from 8 to 10 psi, you can see the valve there is on the left hand side, and there's a cutaway showing the fibres which are attached and connect to the outer surfaces. So as the pressure of the air goes in, those fibres extend and go taut to create that stability. And here's a close-up image of that principle where you can see how the surfaces of the stand-on high pressure drop stitch floor are made. And then to follow on, you can see an example on the top of a chamber with a see-through edging to show that tautness, and then underneath a breakdown of the fibres and the surface of the materials of the floor itself. And then placing that drop stitch floor in the canoe, you can see the top image gives that stability. The lower image without the drop stitch floor, many other canoes might have what's called an I-beam system, whereby it's inflated to hardly as much as what the drop stitch floor can take, and there's no way you'd be able to stand on it out on the waters. And finally, the Halki style high pressure valves. The top image, you can see it all connected together with the secure cap that goes over the top to protect the valve. And then the bottom image, you can see a breakaway of how the valve can be unscrewed and taken away from the base unit, which is bonded into the chamber of the Canoe. So they can be replaced or repaired and cleaned. And then finally, just putting some of the images together, you can put this on pause hold if you want to actually see how the relevance from one thing to another leads up to the whole structure of the Canoe. Okay, so now we've inflated it and you've seen a strength test with me standing and walking on it. Let's go and have a look at some of the actual features that's included in the spec of the Maverick Explorer Stealth. Lift and carry handle either end. equally spaced loops of the tug rope, holding rope that goes all the way around the gunwale of the canoe, which is quite unique to the Maverick Explorer. Anti-slip and anti-snag, the way they're central threaded, so they don't actually shorten by this one being pulled and then this being made less and taut. They actually sort of lock and secure into a position, so they always stay equidistant along those loops. And of course the tug ropes can be used for many things: fastening kit, carrying it, bringing it into the bank to moor it up in different positions and configurations. And plus as well, if you're overboard and in the water, you can grab hold of the canoe in any position as a floating device, or just to secure yourself and then get back into the canoe. The stainless steel D-rings, there's 10 each side, equally spaced, to fasten kit in any configuration of the seats, and of course 10 down this side. An additional improvisation you could use with the D-rings is you could make a framework which could thread through the D-rings, come up and then across and then down the other side with elbow joints, with tubings, and sort of make your own design to then fit a canopy attached on the top of your seating area. And if you're into fishing, you can have an anchor line, if you use one, attached or threaded through any of the D-rings in any configuration that you want to personalise for your own use when you're out on lakes, still waters, that sort of thing. And if you wanted to, within your fishing practice, want to improvise any of what are called the Scotty attachments or similar attachments to them, where you actually solvent glue the plate and then you've got fixings which are rod holders in different positions, specifically for what you personally want when you're out fishing. And along the outer edge is the thick ribbed protective strake which goes right along the outermost protruding edge of each chamber either side. So when mooring up at the edge of the bank, it just gives you that extra bit of protection, and also if you're just going to rest the canoe on its side, it gives it more stability and strength. And having cylindrical chambers either side gives really good stability. The stability of the canoe within its width, also its length, is proportionate so that it's nice and stable and no chance of tipping over or capsizing unless it's actually forced to do so. Some canoes now are being made with the same structure as the drop stitch floor, so the chambers will be exactly the same as what the floor's made out of, but they tend to be a little bit less stable, well actually much less stable than the actual cylindrical chambers as you're looking at here. So literally for the canoe to capsize or tilt over, you would really be having to lean it as far up as you possibly could, but considering the proportion of the length to width will always keep the stability unless you actually literally manhandled it to pull it over. So the stability there is there for still waters and also up to level 3-4 white water, but of course that's down to the skills of the paddler to manage that type of water, but this canoe can actually cope with those conditions. And the rocker space each end, the bow and the stern, from the tip and then down to the underneath of the hull, is just curved specifically so you get a good point of raise above the water for the canoe to actually track without the tip having to come up too high. So that's all been calculated in proportion to the length of the canoe and of course its width. So it's all proportionate in size, width, length, so it's more practical and effective with tracking on the water. By default, inflatables, due to the content of air, tend to cut slightly less into the water compared to hard shell traditional canoes, which sometimes can cut and track into the water a bit more deep, which then creates more resistance of the water against the side of the hull. But depending on the shape of the keel, which is the centre line underneath the hull, if it's sort of broad beamed and got a flat base, then any canoe with that sort of shape is going to track virtually the same, whether it's a hard shell or inflatable. But by default, the inflation of the air in the chambers creates that slight more tracking on the top surface of the water. But with experience and practice paddling in the Maverick Explorer, you get used to the manoeuvring and manoeuvrability of an inflatable, as you'll see from some of the footage later on of the canoe in action, solo and also two people paddling with full kit, and seeing actually how easy it does manoeuvre. Two slide-in fins that go in the centre line of the keel underneath the hull for extra tracking if you need to. You can use both of them or just one at the stern, so you've got manoeuvrability at the bow, depending on the technique of manoeuvring the canoe and what the water circumstances and conditions are. One I've slid into the groove underneath the hull at the stern of the canoe, so the bow has got a bit more manoeuvrability. Slide in really easily and then fasten with a little transverse clip, as you can see, goes through the groove and then just clips in there. Once again, depending on the conditions of the water, will depend on whether you want both fins or just the single, but it really gives you that extra bit of tracking. You can just about see a sort of patterned effect within the colour of the surface of the canoe, and that is actually the fibrous membrane, the Decitex 1100, which is what actually stabilises this and actually gives the same sort of stability as a car tyre does. Not that you want to overinflate this, but if you did, it wouldn't lose its shape, it would keep its nice stability, just like a car tyre would, which is totally different from single membrane PVC canoes, which you can just keep inflating them and they keep expanding just like a balloon. So a lot of canoes that are made from sheet plastic PVC and the seams are just heat press sealed just once around the edges are normally made from low quality single thin membrane PVC chambers, some covered with nylon canvas hull. They're difficult to dry, prone to rot and absorb stale smells. Much less stable, non-supportive floor, prone to leak air due to weak seams, far less robust structure and vulnerable to environmental conditions. Same with the drop stitch floor. That will keep its stability, as you saw demonstrated when I was doing the strength test, walking on it and standing on it. When the chambers are made and joined, there's an overlap where it's fixed, and then there's this strip which then bonds that, and there's also another strip underneath, so you've got a triple seal seam on all of the joins on this canoe. They're called cold seal seams, which means the method of the solvent adhesions that are used sort of welds the surfaces of the plastics together, which then makes the bond. Some PVC canoes and Hypalon, which is a different type of synthetic material, which tends to be more lightweight, more expensive, but there's pros and cons with using high tensile PVC like this one or Hypalon. This tends to be a little bit more robust and can actually cope with not having to be heat sealed. Canoes that are made using a heating or electronic heating seam technique to actually bond it all together, by default the heating process can actually change the molecular structure to make it a little bit more brittle. So canoes that are actually manufactured with a heating process can sometimes be prone to cracking along the seams because they're a different density through the heating and sealing process than the rest of the canoe. Whereas this one, the Maverick Explorer, is the cold seam sealing method. Okay, so I'm going to show you a demonstration of how the water, any dampness, just drains and beads off. And simple demo of wipe dry. Compared to synthetic drying materials, I found that just simply plain cotton, this is an old cotton t-shirt, this is really absorbent, and if it does get soaked it's just easy to wring out and then continue to finish drying off the surface of the canoe. And we've got 2 loops each side, here and here, and then further along just there. And they're specifically for the transom benches to either sit on or place kit with G-clamps, all that sort of thing, so it's got a mixed choice of what you can actually use the bench. So if you want to sit on the gunnel level, so you're more upright, you can do J-stroke tandem paddling with a partner. Two high back, strong supportive seats with zip pouches at the back. If you want to, they unclip and disconnect either side, so you can actually take the pouch with whatever contents separate from the canoe. You can see from the strap configurations, there's one set either side that's a little bit higher, and then there's one that's slightly lower, adjustable, 2 adjustments for the lower D-ring, and the higher strap either side goes onto the gunnel D-ring, so you've got the tautness of the seat of being upright but also supported at the base of the spine. Deck foot supports with adjustable strap with clips that go in either side of the D-ring to ergonomically give you support to brace your heels and your feet when you're paddling. And as you can see on the splash skirts, either end of the canoe, bow and stern, we've got extra little fastening rings in between where the actual tug ropes are fastened, as you can see there, and they're specifically for just extra fastenings if you're going to bring any bungees or fixings from D-rings, got kit on the deck, and for some reason the configuration brings it into this area, or you might have a small amount of kit on the splash skirt and you can use any of these four to sort of just keep something you want accessible on top of the splash skirt. So the variety there of fastening your kit, each end gives you plenty of choices, so you've got any amalgamation that suits your purpose and practicalities of loading your kit and keeping it secure, which of course is one of the most important things out on the waters. Either side we've got 2 velcro straps, and as you can see I've got the paddle fastened along the side, just extra place to actually store it. Strong velcro supportive securing strap for the paddle. When not in use, just simply secure them both back, and we've got the same the other side. The 2 paddles are strong and lightweight, come in at just over 7'6" long, and they come in 2 sections. If you want the paddles so they're in line, then it's the central little spring button. How you like the position of the paddles to suit your style of paddling, where you can see I've moved it from the centre hole to the one that's slightly above, and you can see the blade now is one's that direction and that's got a slight angle to it. And to disconnect and make it shorter into two sections for storage and transit, just pressing that spring-loaded button and then pulling the shaft out from the tube. Which then makes it into the two sections. And then this nice, sturdy, high-vis plastic screw-top container. Got a nice sort of holding vise, or you can attach it to anything if you're not actually putting it direct in your kit, is the repair kit with a screw top. And inside it is the valve spanner to replace or check the valve. Two really strong patches of the same material the Canoe's made from. High adhesion solvent glue that's specifically for this material and bonds it as if it had all been soldered together. Lightweight spanner that fixes on top of the Hauke style valve. So the whole package of the Maverick Explorer Stealth is the high pressure hand pump with gauge at the top, two seats, two paddles, two foot supports, two fins, the repair kit, two transom benches, the strap with D-rings. Once you've deflated the Canoe and folded it up, that fastens it and keeps it secure and acts as a handle so you can lift it up and carry it. And the carry bag strong handles, double zip for all of the Maverick Explorer package and kit to fit into. And with the Maverick Explorer's features, kit, the whole caboodle package, you won't get a better deal and a better quality canoe with all the features all set out specifically for practical use for many different activities out on the waters. Other manufacturers, makers of similar size and shape canoes and made of high quality performance materials, will have far less structured features compared to the Maverick Explorer, whereby also you can expect to pay far more for those canoes than what you can expect to pay for the complete Maverick Explorer package. Other similar quality canoes, which include a few pieces of additional kit like seats and paddles, on average come in at well over £1,000, nearer the £1,200 mark. Now if they made the Maverick Explorer package, you could expect to pay in the realms of near £1,500, well over $2,000. This is the 8 to 10 psi stand-on removable drop stitch floor. High pressure, replaceable, removable Hauke style valve, as do both the chambers. Any type of canoe trolley can be easily attached in a variety of ways, and here's one example, fixing the trolley frame to the canoe D-rings with hooked bungee cords. So transporting the empty canoe is really easy, or just like a hard shell when it's fully loaded. So you can do your research. There's plenty of canoes out there ranging from £50 to £400 or £500, but of course they're a totally different calibre and category to what the Maverick Explorer is, as you've already seen from some of the demonstrations and the detailed information. So with equal distancing, the canoe can easily seat up to 3 people, maybe with a day pack between your knees, a holdall either end on the triangular splash skirts on the bow and stern. And the Maverick Explorer can easily seat 2 people with plenty of space equally distributed around the canoe for your expedition kit if you're out for the long haul. So here's some footage of the canoe in actual use, and over the years I've been involved with projects on mainstream television, and there's two examples here which had a slightly comedic touch to them, a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but anyway, I'll let you see it and it can speak for itself. Okay, it's coming up to 8 o'clock in the evening. Just loaded the canoe, all nice and fastened the kit in and ready to shoot in the water. So right, I'm going to embark onto the canoe and we're going to take the route back down through it. So the canoe's packed up, ready to shoot. So to deflate, basically turn and then take off the attached, circularly attached cap, and you can see the protrusion here. If I press it, you can hear the air. Right, that's on the non-return valve position. Now if I turn it, and it goes in, you can see it go to deflate. And the other side, just taking the protective cap off that screws in, and as you can see it fastens within the little sort of ribs that are structured for this to actually turn in and secure, and you can see it's got a seal there that keeps it nice and airtight and waterproof. So again, if I press that when the air comes out, it's in the protruded position, which means it's got the non-return valve, but when I release it and turn it in, I'll just do it slowly. It actually is inserted inwards, which releases the non-return valve, hence lets the air out. Now when I want to pump that back up, I'll turn it and you can feel it spring back out again, and that's the non-return valve ready to take the pumping action to inflate it back up again. And the same with the drop stitch removable floor, just pressing the valve in so it inserts a little bit more. But this, because it's got much more pressure in it, I'm going to do it gradually. Always keep your face away from the ejecting air. Turned it fully, that's gone inserted to let all the air out, and that will eventually all deflate. When you finish with the Canoe and deflated it, it's a good idea to take the floor out, obviously, and then you can dry and wipe the underneath of any dampness. Again, it's all easy wipe clean, and then dries very easily, so you've got nothing porous to actually soak up any of the water that might have got splashed or got induced onto it. As the Canoe is deflated, one of the best techniques is to, as you're actually getting the air out, is where the two D-rings are, in between them, the two sort of base plates that fastens them to the chamber. In the middle point, as you can see there where my finger and thumb are, that's where you sort of want the fold. So you compact it, press it down, you can see it's quite equidistant all the way along from the edge of the protective strake, and then of course where the D-rings are, where they're folded in half, one side, one the other, and you can see I've done the same the other side as well. And just to reconfirm, same each side, all nice and equally folded on either chamber. I'll keep the spring-loaded valves on each chamber, either side, the two of the valves, on deflation mode while I actually roll it up. But then I will eventually, once it's fully deflated and folded, ready to pack away, just prior to that I'll put these back in so it seals it. Before I finish the first then the second fold, you can see there's a drain plug here, which on the inside other side actually has got a screw cap, so you can actually drain any water you want. That's if you don't want to turn it on its side to empty. But back to the folding, the first one is the first fold is the tip towards the D-rings. But now when I go to do the next fold, I want it across here, so wherever the folds are, they're in between the D-rings, so the D-rings stay flat and not part of the bend area. I'm now going to go for the second fold, and you can see it will keep those D-rings down there flat. D-rings there, going on the flat part. And I'm going to keep rolling it right up to the valves. Then when I've got near enough all the air out as best as I can, I'm going to put the screw caps back on, fold this back out again, and then unfold it halfway one end, halfway the other, then fasten it with a D-ring belt. Also enables where the actual plate for the fin to attach, that remains as flat as possible, so it never gets caught or snagged in a folded rounded part, if that makes sense. So it's all been sort of measured out and positioned, so all the main parts of the features will always stay flat and won't be affected by any bends. Not too much pressure, but just gently kneeling on what I've folded so far, and to get the rest of the excess air out, I'm just going to push that down, keep my hand on that, and then put the screw top caps back onto both chamber valves. So the valve caps are secured in. I'm going to fold this out about halfway again. So the first fold from this other end, but you'll notice the next fold will be just here. just beyond this tip, which enables the valves, just like the D-rings, to remain flat as that places down. So there's less chance of the valves getting snagged in any way because they're not actually on a folded part of the stored canoe. So the canoe is now folded up. Then what I did with the floor, on the deflate mode of the valve, I just gently rolled it, no pressure, you don't have to force it, just rolled it up to deflate, and then just this end to get the rest of the air out, and then the screw secure cap will go on top of the valve to stop any air from coming back in, so it stays deflated flat and effective to fold away and store. Just folding it up with the same principle as the canoe, keeping the valve on the flat part, the valve's in there, and just bringing this over, then I can tuck that in one of the folds of the canoe so it's safely stored away. So what I've chosen to do in this case is fold the floor into 4 and put it between the centre fold, ready for the strap to secure it all together. So the D-ring strap laid on the floor, central, then I'll bring this part of it over and it will thread through those 2 D-rings. So I've threaded the end of the strap through both of the D-rings. Then you can see I've brought it back under the nearest D-ring to me, which then, as you pull it, creates a fastening for that to stay nice and secure. But obviously don't put a load of pressure on it, it's just enough just to keep it secure. Then for extra security, I've just threaded it round, wrapped it round a few times, so it stays secure when I pick it up and obviously lift it off the ground. You can easily transit the deflated folded canoe and any kit on various types of large enough trolley systems. Here's an example of my improvised one, made with the 2-wheel canoe kayak trolley attached to the underneath of a folding handled suitcase trolley, with the canoe transom bench as a protective supportive base to place the canoe either on its own or with the canoe package kit in its bag. So some final technical information. The thickness measurement of tri-laminate Desitex 3-layer system PVC is what's called the gauge. The bigger the number, the thicker, stronger the material. A lot of Desitex PVC canoes are described as 0.7 to 0.9. The thinner are more lighter weight. Maverick Explorer is 0.9 to 1.1, depending on the colour, camo being 1.1. Some canoes the same size and dimensions as the Maverick Explorer are detailed as 0.9, but come in very much lighter in weight than the Maverick Explorer. Plus you can see by the way some canoes fold, they are quality but much thinner material than the Maverick Explorers. So sometimes there's a dilemma regarding what other canoes' gauge, thickness, texture actually is. So now it's Maverick indoors in my office, ready to give you some final information. After the canoe is precision handmade, the workshop do a quality control on all of the kit that comes with the canoe package and inflates the canoe and leaves it for 3 days to make sure it's going to perform to its highest standards. Only then will the canoe package consignment be then shipped directly to me. Once I receive the safe and secure packed consignment, I then do my own quality control check by carefully unpacking every single item and inspecting every aspect of the canoe package, and then eventually inflate the canoe, the 2 chambers to 3 psi and the floor to 10 psi, and leave it for a minimum of 2 days to make sure everything is in working order. The canoe makers know that I do my own quality control, which means at both ends, from manufacturer to my receipt, due diligence and best practice for quality control is applied, right up to secure dispatch for the canoe package to be received by the new owner. You can only acquire the Maverick Explorer direct from me, so that you know that the transition is going to be safe and secure and trustworthy direct from me. And of course the final transaction is the delivery of the canoe to the new owner, and that is done personally by me. I deliver the whole of the canoe Maverick Explorer package, and then spend time with the new owner giving a full demonstration of inflating the canoe and aspects of using the kit. Also other detailed information that are specific to the inquiries of the new owner of the canoe. At present, personal delivery relates to mainland UK, Scotland, England and Wales. Any location overseas, delivery courier would be arranged by the new owner. Considering the high quality, the features of the canoe and the whole quality of the canoe package, it is appreciated that for some people it might be out of their budget. But at the end of the day you get what you pay for, and this isn't just a normal cheap play canoe, it's made fit for purpose. Due to the high quality and calibre of the canoe package, it's valued at a recommended retail price of £1,450. Now don't expect to pay anywhere near that. With my massive discount, I'm bringing the price in at well under £1,000. Now if you're not sure, do your research, but if you know about inflatable canoes, you're going to know straight away that this is one of the best canoe package deals that you can get. Plus as well, with my process of the personal delivery, it's more secure, trustworthy, plus as well you get the one-to-one tuition with anything you're not sure of with using the canoe package. I endeavour to keep pricing as economic as possible, whereby financial payments and transactions to pay for the canoe package will be done via processes which don't charge extortionate fees for that financial transaction, but more information can be given from any inquiries via my email connection. So the next stage is acquisition of the canoe package via contacting me at petermindman@gmail.com. Then I can forward you all the relevant information of secure payment details and the turnaround from ordering to delivery and personal receipt of the canoe package. My manufacturing workshop is now ready and waiting to take orders. Each canoe being individually precision handmade using the latest computer technology. So many of you who are my viewers of Maverick Outdoors and channel subscribers will know that this canoe making project started well over 3 years ago, but now it's actually developed into something whereby I thought, well, there's lots of knife makers out there that make craft knives, artisan products like bushcraft pouches, leatherwork, all that sort of thing. And I thought, well, why not make exactly the type of canoe that I feel is really practical, multi-purpose and fit for use, and then put it on the market, the same as all other outdoors activities, products that people will market. But this is something, as far as being out on the waters in a canoe, which is something that's trustworthy. And I thought, well, why not market it, get it at a good price, a really good deal, so that other people could benefit from it as well. So further acquisition inquiries regarding the Maverick Explorer canoe package, contact me direct via petermindman@gmail.com. I can normally get back within 24 hours, and hopefully very soon you could be paddling around in the Maverick Explorer. So thanks for staying with it, watching this full review detailed video, incorporating as much information as I could possibly give, because there's experienced paddlers out there and there's also beginners that don't understand or can't appreciate maybe the difference between different types of canoes. So I wanted to cover all bases so that everyone could get an understanding of what the Maverick Explorer canoe package is about. There is potential in the near future to have the canoe in one specific colour, ranging from maybe olive green, brown, blue, red, if it was for emergency response, something like that. And once more, just to say, any acquisition information, then contact me via petermindman@gmail.com. So, thanks for watching. Really appreciate your interest. Thanks for sticking with it. Hope the canoe's given you some interest to think about. And I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers. Take care.